fight injustice wherever it be. Just said the hungry must be fed, but men can't live by only bread. We have the future in our hands. Let's take the trot to the promised land. Jamaica, Ethiopia, America, calling, Nyankopong, calling, Nyankopong, calling, Nyankopong, calling, Nyankopong. From the middle of the graveyard to the center of the sea, our ancestors, are you and me, we are the great ones. From the beginning of time, we have the heart, the soul, the body, and the mind. Calling, Nyankopong, calling, Nyankopong, calling, Nyankopong, calling, Nyankopong. United we stand, divided we fall. All for one and one for all. Some never know themselves until them back against the wall. Jamaica, Haiti, Nyankopong a call, calling, Nyankopong, calling, Nyankopong, calling, Nyankopong, calling, Praises to the great ones, praises of our nation. Yeah, oh yes, I say, united we stand, divided we fall. All for one and one for all. Some will never know themselves until they're back against the wall. Nigeria and Nigeria, the Asians wanna call, calling, Nyankopong, calling, Nyankopong, calling, Nyankopong, calling,
Did I just get off that? No, man.
Grand Rising.
Grand Rising.
Just a hear me. You know, long me they about Grand Rising, and not a thing that come true.
Just I hear you.
Just a you are going.
Yeah.
All right. Grand Rising Doctor. Grand Rising. Grand Rising Brother Danny.
Grand rising to you and to everyone.
Yes, and Grand Rising Sister Angela. Look, wait a
Fundraising.
bit. Wait a bit and see if we get some more brothers and sisters on board. I have been multitasking because last night was a great night for me. I think it's very much um a good ceremony. Last night I was sworn in as part of the Moorish temple, and I took my swearing in act very seriously because now I will be able to operate as a sheikh, and we can move towards getting some more obligation towards the nation completing. As you know, um, we have a very large Moorish family over here, and we hope that we can establish some more knowledge base with them. Grand Rising, Sister Crystal, it is very much important that we make alliances. So last night with that alliance, it was good. I got a warm welcome from Sheik Page, and he had a vast amount of brothers and sisters out there where we're going to work together, and we're going to see how best we can make some of these um, intentions that we have be unified, and we can share them. They have quite a lot of members, and we're hoping that we can, anywhere their memberships and their temples are, we are allowed to go inside there. So last night was just very, very, very beautiful. I have to go to certain meetings in person, but give thanks for virtual um, acceptance. We can do it via our Zoom and so forth. But being in the presence of the rest of the Moors, to get to know them, shake their hand, and just flourish with them, it's magical. I went to the temple already, and the temple was very much not normal. It's a house. They turn it into a temple. They host their meeting there. They treat it as an embassy. So they're going to show me a lot of the guidelines that they are using to survive here. Hopefully it manifests and go into something very, very nice, and I can share that experience with brothers and sisters who are curious about it. Now, Sister Nana is down with the sinus flu that's going around. It's very much serious. I just coming out of it, and when I tell you, say I am totally devastated when it comes on to it, because the amount of mucus where it make you get in your body is your body totally changing. So she's totally just trying to recuperate from her challenge as far as sickness goes. What's else on the agenda? She was going to continue with driving and traveling. And Thursday, she said she put something inside of the class that we could use. But I think now that we're here, I don't know if there's any concern that brothers and sisters would want to bring forth. A couple of them coming up, but I'm trying my best just to you know uh keep an open mind. But is there any concern? Brother Akeem, I see you just come in. How is everything?
Well,
Good. Like you don't even get up yet, Akeem. But as I said, driving and traveling is what she was putting forward. She put out a few things inside the group that we could move with. I'm going to see how best I can structure it. But it's been 2 weeks now. She's been trying to get up. The last time it was her prom, I mean her daughter's prom. I can't force certain things on her, but you know, um I have to fulfill. I was going to call and say, hey, class such and such, but I don't think we have to cancel class if the teacher don't come, because there's a lot of things within the classroom that we can look out for ourselves. All right. But as I said, sometimes some of the challenges that you're going through, we may not know it, and we ask you to, put it up front so we may know about it. I think we're at a crossroad.
Yeah,
Sister
okay.
Angie?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, grand rising and greetings, King
Amazing.
Night Jeep. Ambassador, God blessings with us all. I don't know who that is online, but I know that we have someone online who is trying to reach out to us. Dr. Judith, any concern we have? How far have you reached with any process that you're completing? No such luck?
My affidavit.
Hello. Yes.
Yes.
We are in direct contact with High Chief Gary,
With whom?
and he is High Chief Gary in Panama,
Yes. And where am I
and
doing?
yeah, we're gonna do some work together where that situation is concerned.
Okay, because he asked me to I gave him the numbers for the herbal, the health and wellness that he's dealing, but because of this Ambassador Michael situation, overdrive, so most time that's what we are trying to figure out, because up to a while ago, the emperor just called me and you might beseech me to say, yo, let us try keep Ambassador Michael on the front burner, which I am trying, but there's other things that we have to deal with too. Because I think what we are trying to learn from Ambassador Michael is is how not to be in his situation.
All right.
Yes, so that's why you see yesterday we finished up the UCC. I want to go into the ILO, and as the notifications I was saying this morning, the notifications to go out to the necessary places. I was hoping that Madam Secretary would have come on board, but this is where we reach now to do these after Davis. The age of maturity can be sent out immediately because we all have access to that. And this is about informing the Wagwan Ambassador Glenroy. Yes, sorry, didn't realize that was you. You could come into the classroom, because we're not that full today, and give your 2 cents. I'd really like to talk to you. But that's what we're trying to do now. Put out some notification we have on record. I think the age of maturity covers the whole reclaiming our property as far as name goes. So if you cannot send it to the clerk of court, you send it to the post office, as we say, and make sure you have a record for that. It looks simple, but when you get into the predicament, that is how we can get some result. Because even with the Ambassador Michael situation, you have brothers and sisters who are saying that if Ambassador Michael had just done some of the necessary as to notifying some people, maybe we would have gotten more headway, But I won't cry over spilled milk. I will try my best to um preserve what we can from it. So we're going to do the necessary as to making the necessary right by notification. All right. Okay. Now away from your notification, some of us was looking about trust, and we go as far as to do the dot and the DOT, and we got the LLC, but we did not carry on through with how we set up the beneficiaries to the trust. Hopefully next week we can touch on that for those who reach that point, and we can get some result out of that. I think some of the pointers with the beneficiaries has to be you with your name copyright. We had already gone through that scenario, and then your offspring now can be one of the beneficiary. We can also have any physical asset that we are owning, we can put it inside the trust also. You know, I think that is the thing that we're trying to do. And this trust was setting up where this is your personal trust, not a governmental trust. Because the governmental trust, gun rising, I may have to catch tonight class on the tube. Okay, brother Danny, congratulations. Oh yes, I was just reading some of the notes that was posted inside of the classroom. Thank you all so much for still sending the congratulations. But as I was saying, the trust is very much part of it. Professor Strength should have come on to the class where we have him on a Tuesday. I'm going to have to do some tightening up with the teachers them, because I know that this is the third time we're going around. So they are very mindful that most of the lessons that is there is at our disposal. All right. Let me see if I find this file that Madam Secretary had sent to us. Let me see who is back in the classroom. Oh, Brother Danny. Brother Danny, I thought you said you were working.
Yeah, I am working. I work right. I'm saying I go to shop to buy something. And my boss is miserable like hell, you know. So when we go back in a restaurant now, I'm not go on to be there on Zoom, you see?
Yeah.
I'm not go on because he's a brother who don't like LA Lewis. I think I explained that to you before.
Yeah.
But anyway, we take no note of that. That's some nonsense.
He don't like himself, man. He don't like himself. He does not
Well, whatever,
like.
that's up to him.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to ask a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, you were talking about trust. For the community, is there a specific template for that trust to be done?
A specific template.
Yeah, because
go ahead.
Yeah, currently we actually have a trust, but it's only a real estate trust. That's for the house where we live. So that was created. I had that done outside, you know, I mean, before now, just for the house. So it's a real estate trust. So I'm wondering, because because of this community that it's different, being sovereign and so forth, is there a specific template that would differentiate it from another kind of common law trust?
The only trust that I'm aware of is the trust as far as we doing it personally, like you've done one personally for your real estate. There is something of that sort, but then that is not the trust that the government would offer you. would not be that sort of trust. It would be a collective trust. But the one that we signed up with the DOT, which links you to the IRS, the secretary was leading that chase where we all signed up to get ourselves over the federal government. Because as I said yesterday, the federal government is not an elected government, but they're the one who carry us through the penal system, through the justice system, and they issue the dollars to us. So go ahead.
The DOT, would that mean, is that the acronym for Department of Transportation or something else?
That is the Department of Transportation, where the IRS works through. So we signed up because we're still, and anyone who signed up is getting contacted by the feds, because now you're a sovereign in the state, where you're a national outside of the citizenship of the state that you live in. So now you can start to administer to your own affairs. I think that is the kind of trust that we set up through the DOT.
Oh, okay. Oh, I was only thinking of the standard trust that you do. You know, people, they have different kinds of trust. You can have a real estate trust, you can have a personal trust for like your banking information and so forth. So when you said trust, I'm thinking about those kind of trust.
Okay.
So since I haven't been in the class where the DOT, you know, I'm just going into my second week of training, so I missed all of those things. So that's why I would ask this kind of question, because
that's why I had put inside of the classroom a form. I think I may send it over to you again, where it have all of the necessary when it comes on to where we are in the classroom. Okay, but this is explaining how sovereign immunity works, as far as our trust, as far as the corporation. And I want us to, because this is the next level where you're being taught to operate outside of your maritime laws, because the maritime laws is just one aspect of the law. So a collectiveness, when you're a sovereign now, a national, you have a collectiveness where you're over land, air, water. Water is maritime. So we're over it. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, so basically all of the notices that we send out that connect us as a collective, that's what you refer to as a trust?
The notice is not the trust. The notification is for your estate, your properties, your name. So you want to send out to all the agencies the notification that when your name come up in their mouth, them have to pay your fee, in a colloquial language. So you are registering your name, which is your property.
Right, that I understand. It's just the trust I don't understand in this.
No, as this is one of your property have value. So you are involved in a trust, but the government use it as a collateral to the trust. So your money is not tied up inside of the Bank of Jamaica, and it's tied up in a world trust. Now the world trust, that's what the American dollar say, in God we trust, is a world trust. So this is how you have to learn how to sign your autograph, register your property, and then make claim for your property.
Chic Roscadite, I think what would assist Dr. Judith is if you could send her a taping of the class that we did, where we went through and collected together, did the DOT, and mentioned the trust. That would probably assist her further, that she could watch it, and then if whatever she don't understand from that, she could come back we have a discussion about it.
Yeah,
Right.
I'll have to let her revisit that class, because the thing about it is with Dr. Judith, she not only need to revisit, but she need to get a DOT.
Exactly why I asked for a taping, because I was searching for that taping, that class that we did,
Mm.
but I haven't found it. So if you can find it, I would appreciate a copy of it as well.
All
Yeah,
right.
just put it in the
All right.
class.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I could read. All right, I have to go to the classroom and check it out, because every class sometimes are posted within the classroom with the topic as to what it is. But
Yeah.
and I will reconfer with Madam Secretary to see what's going on with that. This is a small tape that I wanted to play that deals with sovereignty, and it deals with a little dabbling as to trust, also how we can live and set up our estates. All right, so we will run through it for a while and then see if we can get some of the information that you're asking about.
The topic that I'm going to begin with is the topic of sovereign immunity. So return with me to Europe back in the good old days of totalitarian monarchies. Justice emanates from the crown, and you can't sue the king. That would be nonsensical, justice emanating from the king. The king, being the fountain of justice, can't be susceptible to his own adverse decisions. This doctrine, which developed over centuries in Europe, is called sovereign immunity. The sovereign is immune from judicial process, from judicial liability. It's a doctrine that one would think would have been offensive to the founders of the Republic, and I'm sure it was to many of them, yet it's a doctrine that on forming a new country here, they chose to adopt. So sovereign immunity crosses the Atlantic. Sovereignty is vested in a different authority in the United States. It's the people who are sovereign, but the people can't be sued. The United States is immune from suit, and that's just how it is, unless it is willing to waive its immunity and allow itself to be sued. Now that's the federal sovereign immunity rule. It's not in the Constitution. It's arguably grounded in the structure of the Constitution, but maybe it's more properly located in federal common law. There are two other sovereigns operating on the lands that the United States occupies. The tribes, the native tribes, are sovereign, and they also enjoy sovereign immunity as a consequence of arguably international law, but maybe more expressly federal common law. And then the states, and it's the states that I want to focus on, because the issue of state sovereign immunity is something that the founders actually talked about in the Constitution. The susceptibility of suits to federal judicial process is arguably covered in Article 3. And so we have constitutional law on that topic. We've got a fair amount of discussion, and we've got some interesting history. I want to share that history with you, and then I want to let you know where we are today. So return with me now to 1777. We're at war with the British. Georgia has an army, but they don't have a whole lot in the way of supplies. In the state of Georgia, the newly independent state of Georgia, contracts with a South Carolina merchant named Robert Farquhar to provide a variety of goods that Georgia needs to prosecute the war effort. The deal is a paper deal. The goods arrive, and Georgia says, "Yeah, we'll pay you. Don't worry, we're good for it." And 1778 rolls around, and 1780, 91, 92, independence is won, or into the 1780s, new constitution, new government. Robert Farquhar is Georgia. Remember me? You owe me money for that stuff from the war. Yeah. We'll get around to that. And eventually, Farquhar dies. Decades pass. Nothing comes from Georgia, and his executor, a guy named Alexander Chisholm, decides that he's going to file suit against Georgia, or do something to attempt to recover this debt so that it can be paid into his estate and distributed to his friend Robert Farquhar's heirs. Now, can he sue? Well, nobody had ever really asked this question before. This isn't the only unpaid Revolutionary War creditor, mind, but it's the first to ask the question, well, is there some way I can use the new federal courts established by Congress pursuant to constitutional directive to get this money out of Georgia? And so we took a look at Article 3 of the Constitution, which establishes the federal judiciary, and it says that the federal judicial power shall extend to, controversies, it says, between a state and foreign states, citizens, or subjects. So, okay, so that sounds like the state of Georgia and me, right? I'm Alexander Chisholm, citizen of a different state, South Carolina. He was a South Carolinian like Farquhar. So we file suit. The Supreme Court gets this case, and Georgia says, "What? How you can't sue us? We have sovereign immunity." And Chisholm says, "Yeah, but it says." And so it wasn't this copy, but it might have been, right? The little copy of the Constitution. And so the court says, "Well, I don't know. Let's read the language." And 4 of the 5 justices decide that Chisholm's right. That in fact, the federal judicial power does extend to suits brought by citizens of other states against states. So they entertain the action. And Georgia is very unhappy. Now, it's not just Georgia that's unhappy about this. Other states that owe money are unhappy about the prospect that they're now going to be sued by all of these Revolutionary War.
I want to put a little pin right there, so because here this man is telling us that the state, even though it is the United States, you still have the power to sue a state individually. Anybody is getting what I'm going to? That is how, when we as sovereign, not because the state you're living in a place, they call it Indiana, the state of Indiana. The state of Indiana can be sued because you are a state also. You are a product also, just like the state. So I want you to bear in mind how powerful you are when you own your estate. All right, we have to bear in mind these things. It's very important.
Yeah,
I think
we are estate.
yeah,
So
we are
we
the
are
estate.
estate.
We are the estate, and
We are
it
estate.
is a estate versus the estate.
Estate, yeah.
Yes, because the state is an estate, is a property, and your name is also an estate as a property. Deep, 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 brothers and sisters.
For creditors. And so they rally. And it's almost the first great interstate rally since the revolution itself. And it's a rally in favor of the 11th Amendment. This is the first amendment since that first group of 10 was pushed through by the first Congress in 1791. And the 11th Amendment says, here's the deal. I'm going to paraphrase it, then I'll read it to you. Here's the deal. That business about the judicial power extending to suits between states and citizens of other states, that wasn't meant to include suits where the states were the defendants. It was only supposed to include suits where the states were the plaintiffs. So Georgia can sue this guy Chisholm, but Chisholm can't sue Georgia. And here's how it's written. The judicial power of the United States, and it's adopted, right? So the language reads, the judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States.
Anybody get that gem there? Anybody got that gem as far as when they carry you into the court system, the state do not have the right to prosecute you as an estate. In other words, What Officer Nibbles is doing is illegal because Officer Nibbles is working for the state and then carrying you to court on behalf of the state. What is that called? Anybody know what
Fraud.
that is? What it's called?
A big fraud. That
Yeah, but even in a court of law, there's a word for it. Anybody know what that is?
which they call treason.
No, it's a conflict of interest. You cannot be working for someone and turn around suing someone you're working with. It's a conflict of interest.
Okay.
Officer Nibbles is not supposed to be given the authority to sue, to use the state to sue your estate. That is a conflict of interest. That's why we have to learn when we're inside of the court what sort of game they're playing and know how to play this game. Because here it says point blank that in the Constitution, the state cannot take you before the state, because all the state is going to take you before itself. My brothers and sisters, that sound feasible?
Mm-mm.
No, sir.
So now I understand. Understand actually when the when the person when the defendant is not facing his victim and the case keep going and
That
the
is the state. That is the state trying to take advantage of your estate.
mm,
That is not right.
yeah
by citizens of another state, or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state, and they threw that in because there were a lot of European bondholders too, right? So individuals now from other states, individuals from foreign countries can't sue states, and everybody relaxes. Well, everybody being the states relax because now they're no longer going to be liable in federal court to suit for payment of these debts on which many of them have defaulted. That's Chisholm versus Georgia and its result. 1793 is the decision. 11th Amendment is passed almost immediately afterwards, and then time passes. Now, the Civil War comes, the Civil War goes, we're into the Gilded Age, and a fellow named Hans in Louisiana has bought bonds from his own state, from the state of Louisiana. And Louisiana, economic difficulty, rewrites its constitution in the 1870s, 1880s, and apparently decides that it's not going to pay out on these bonds that Hans has purchased. So Hans says, well, I'm going to sue him in federal court. And presumably someone suggested, well, I don't know if you can do that because the 11th Amendment. Hans says, yeah, but the 11th Amendment says you can't sue a state if you're a citizen of a different state or a foreign country. It doesn't say you can't sue your own state in federal court, so we file suit. That case, Hans versus Louisiana, gets decided by the Supreme Court in 1890, and the Supreme Court says, wow, you know, technically Hans is kind of right on the money. That is what it says, but in our view, and this is the majority opinion, the reason that the 11th Amendment didn't expressly prohibit suits by citizens of states against their own state is that everybody assumed that that would be the rule. So even though it doesn't say it, we're going to read that restriction into the 11th Amendment. So the 11th Amendment now says judicial power shall not be construed to extend to suits prosecuted against one of the states by citizens of other states, citizens of foreign states, or citizens of your own state. That's slipped in by the Hans versus Louisiana decision. All right, so time goes on, and there is a First World War, and in the course of the First World War, a lot of federal money goes to support warring European states, including Great Britain, and when the war is over, it's time to pay this money back. And a lot of these British bondholders the British government included, but individuals in Britain too, who were going to be indirectly through taxation liable to contribute to the repayment of this American war debt, say, you know what? We owe the Americans money for this, for the war, but they owe us money too. And what they had, these things started appearing out of attics, were these old pre-Civil War state bonds, just like we're talking about, but these are ones that had been sitting in European attics for generations. And they had been issued by lots of states, including southern states in the years before the Civil War. And then the states had repudiated them. Now, Mississippi was especially notorious for this. And this is a case that's going to give rise to our final Supreme Court decision in this line. Mississippi in the 1830s, as a lot of states, had gotten really enthusiastic about economic development, about banking, and they had chartered two banks, the Mississippi Planters Bank and the Mississippi Union Bank, and then they issued state bonds to raise money to capitalize these banks. They sold $7 million worth of bonds, which was a lot of money, and most of them were bought by Europeans, many by British speculators, hoping that the Mississippi banking industry would really take off. Well, it didn't. 1837, there's a financial crisis, and practically all these things went bankrupt, including these two Mississippi banks. And then the Civil War came. These bonds weren't payable until some 1861, 1865, issued in 1830. A lot happened, turns out, between 1830 and 1865 in Mississippi. And so when the war was finished, the state of Mississippi expressly repudiated these things. We're never going to pay on these bonds. And European bondholders felt stymied and frustrated. The 11th Amendment prohibited them as individuals, or rather from bringing suit. Individuals in the state couldn't sue because of Hans versus Louisiana. Individuals in other states who held these bonds couldn't sue. So what's a bondholder to do? Well, this repayment obligation for the First World War debt combined with the Great Depression inspired some real creative lawyering. And what a group of bondholders finally decided was, okay, here are the restrictions. The citizens of states can't sue, citizens of foreign states can't sue, citizens of foreign countries can't sue, but
I want to stress on what he's actually getting at. As property in 1933, after the World War, this war had finished, everything, because it was damaged. A lot of place was mashed up. So the people became the greatest asset, but the people were backed by the birth paper. And then they put the birth paper to be backed by gold. Now, he was saying that within the Mississippi state, the state of Mississippi, they had two banks, the Union Bank and the Farmers Bank. Now, the name suggests what you see. The farmers are the people who work on the fields, and so for the unions are the people who own the farms that the people are working on. But within the Constitution, as far as sovereignty goes, even though these bond birth papers was individual, these individual were first and foremost property of the state. The state can take your birth paper and go to and ask for a vast amount of money. But before anybody can actually, that's why it says, you don't have no debt. The state cover your debt. But you are still paying off debt with promissory note. How is that feasible? That is fictitious money. The money that they are paying you is monopoly money, because this money don't have no value. It is your birth paper that is backed by gold and not the money that is backed by gold. But you don't know how to take the state to court to cover its debt because the state owe you money. And this money is off of your birth paper. And your birth paper is backed by gold. And gold has a stock market exchange as we speak. Anybody getting that solid, Nadamed? That is what he's trying to tell us. And that is why your sovereignty, when it comes on to your sovereignty with the state can't overpower you through your birth paper, because your birth paper is what is actually saving the state. The state don't have no collaterals if it don't have your birth paper. And if all of us here go and take ownership of our property, which is the name on the birth paper, the government cannot do you anything. Clear? We're getting there. We're gonna get there, brothers and sisters. We must get there.
There's nothing in there prohibiting foreign countries from suing. So they collected a bunch of these bonds worth in the tens of thousands of dollars, these old Mississippi Planters and Union Bank bonds, and they carried them to the American legation in Paris, 1934, end of September 1934, and they handed them over to the government of Monaco, of the Principality of Monaco. And they said, we give these to you outright, no conditions, do what you will with them, they're all yours. So the Principality of Monaco took these things and immediately filed suit against the state of Mississippi in a federal court. And the thinking was this would get around the problems, the 11th Amendment limitations and the Hans versus Louisiana limitation. Now it's a foreign country suing a state on these bonds, and surely that will be effective. Mind, this would have provided a platform for other countries to do. Everybody could have handed their bonds to Monaco and said, now do ours, right? And eventually Mississippi might have been forced to repay them. All of these things, the Supreme Court got this case in 1934, Monaco versus Mississippi, and decided, this doesn't seem right either. So Hans versus Louisiana, we inserted citizens of foreign countries. Monaco versus Mississippi, we're going to go ahead and insert, and foreign countries can't sue states in federal courts either. So we've had a judicially greatly expanded 11th Amendment scope of immunity. Now effectively it reads that suits, federal judicial power doesn't extend to suits brought by citizens of your own state, other states, foreign states, or by foreign countries, any suit in law and equity. Now, that doesn't leave much, right? That doesn't leave much. How in the world do you sue a suit if you think it's done wrong? And not just in not paying bonds, how do you sue a state, or how do you get a state to abide by the federal Constitution if you think your constitutional rights have been violated? Because this is the federal judicial power. Federal courts ordinarily have jurisdiction to police the Constitution, but we can't bring suits because of the 11th Amendment. Well, there are three ways. There are three things that can happen that get us around this expanded 11th Amendment problem. The first is that the United States can sue. 11th Amendment doesn't bar suits by the United States against states if they've violated constitutional requirements. The second is that states can waive their immunity. And that actually happens more than you might think. The federal government does too. There are two big statutes at the federal level, and they're state mirrors. One's the Tucker Act, which is a statute that waives federal sovereign immunity for government contract lawsuits. So you contract to sell pencils to the federal government, they don't pay you, you can sue them, right, under the Tucker Act. And then the Federal Tort Claims Act, that's if you get run over by a mail carrier, you can sue if there's a tort that's been committed. And most states, probably all states, have things like that. But that doesn't necessarily help you on constitutional claims. So the last answer, and this is probably the most important, certainly for constitutional law purposes, is a 1908 Supreme Court decision created exception called Ex parte Young. Edward Young was the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota, charged with enforcing allegedly unconstitutional state railroad regulations. And the railroads couldn't sue the state because of the 11th Amendment, but they thought maybe we can sue Young, and so they did. So they filed suit against Young, seeking an injunction, a court order, federal court order to him to stop enforcing these unconstitutional state laws. And the Supreme Court took that and thought, you know, we really haven't left folks many ways of challenging unconstitutional action by states. So let's go with this. And the Ex parte Young rule since 1908 has been the principal mechanism for filing constitutional claims against state governments that you believe have violated your constitutional rights. You can't sue the state, you can't sue for money, but you can sue a state official for an injunction to get him or her to stop enforcing what you believe to be an unconstitutional state act. Thank you.
Freedom 101 is made.
Yeah, this is teaching us about our sovereignty and how your sovereignty can actually allow you to deal with the state and take care of your estate. As you heard, when people try to use the state against your estate, it is not lawful, it's illegal. And some of the ways, as you heard a while ago, to take care of your estate is to actually claim your estate. The reason why a lot of us get into problem is because we have not claimed our property. And we have to claim our property. And claiming your property, I must emphasize, it is not a one-day easy task. It is not an easy task. We have been trying our best to show you some of the way as to claiming your property. But, you know, I believe that a lot of us may have got the wrong perception. No one can claim your property but yourself. We can show you how to reclaim your property, but we can't claim it for you. That onus is on you, and we can show you. Now, what this, you notice, I am here every single day. We try to catch up on what we are supposed to do, but some of us are not really doing the homework. The homework is out there and we're not getting it done. There's a test that is inside of the classroom. I'm going to put it back in there, where it tells us the difference between some of the position that we hold, how to sign your name, and what's the difference between a peace officer and, you know, what is your unalienable rights? What is it? How to sign your autograph versus a signature. Foreign government, different from local government. Birth certificate record versus a live birth record. Now, these things are in the classroom. If you're not seeing them, please let me know so I can replace them. Surname and identity. A lot of these things that you're learning, you have to learn them where you can memorize them and be versed with them, because at any given time, you may be put in a position where you have to defend it. What is dead and what is alive?
Could you put them back in the classroom, Ras? Because this must have been done while I was away.
When you was in Jamaica.
Oh, for some time I miss up on it. Please, if you could put it back in the classroom, I'll appreciate it.
I'm putting back a video graphic of everything that it entails. I will try to show it to you what I'm talking about. This is, it looks simple, but as I say to all of our brothers and sisters, it may look simple to you, but it's very, very, very different. You know, these little things that we need to study, it is a lifesaver. I never know the difference between a peace officer and a police officer. You know, it looks so simple, but it is not. We have to get familiar with these things. Signature and autograph. Foreign government and sovereign government. These are the differences between them. A birth certificate and a live birth record. We can go through these things so we can get more sharper. The difference between a surname and an identity. Have to get these things sorted out. The difference between artificial and natural. A lot of things look like, but is not in the right form. Like, as I've always said to you, when you're going to the courthouse, why when you're into a prison, what do they say is entering the prison? A body. They don't say a live or dead body, a body. When you go into the courthouse, they say all rise. Why do they say all rise? Because they're not speaking to a live entity, speaking to a dead entity. Okay. Also, laws. A lot of people don't know the different kind of laws. Universal law, natural law, common law, constitutional law, law of the land, law of the sea, commercial law, admiralty law, statutory legalization, public, the corporation, and the dead. So these are some of the things that we have to learn. What is commercial law, contract law, law merchants, UCC. We just got through. Everything we're doing is connected, you know, brothers and sisters. Everything we're doing is connected to each other. But we have to know how to use them. What's the difference between a policy officer and a peace officer? Yeah, you'll be seeing everybody and calling them police. Not everybody is police. They're different. All right. Trying our best just to keep our brothers and sisters well informed. So at the end of the day, we can have more ammunition. All right. That is my Moorish supplication. I think I need to hold on. I have to take that out of the classroom because it has a lot of private.
Congrats.
Yes. It's a challenge. It's a challenge, but and for as soon as I find out what it entails when it comes on to the Moorish Empire, I'm gonna share it more with my brothers and sisters. So if it's, and I think it can only be beneficial, to us because you know, they have a lot of things that we are not familiar with. As I said all the time, you know, the only thing I say with Nyankopong is Nyankopong is my birthright. When everything fails, Nyankopong can't fail, but I will pack on as much connection that's possible, so long as it can make the journey much more easier for us, we'll do it. But I tell the brothers and sisters in the Moorish temple that I am not changing from Nyankopong. I can add to Nyankopong, but Nyankopong is who I am. All right, just like in time, we usually go to the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Church of God of Prophecy. All of them couldn't change us. We just pack on more and try to leave our inner standing there. All right. Any question? Danny, you reach I shop and come back already?
Who that, me?
Yeah, you reach the shop and come back.
Yeah, we go in and it have some problem with the internet in there anyway because it's on the railway arch, so it keep on a dropout.
Yeah.
I come now for him to the bin and just log in back. I miss a chunk of the class. Oh, yeah. But the thing is now, if we just send on the YouTube, because we catch up with the whole of the class.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yes. Yeah. Hey, more time how I watch but my YouTube is in the mornings because I try to do, and that's how I find whenever I find some of the gem that you ask for, I place it back in the classroom because everything that we're going through right now, we have been through it already. It's just that we want to keep sharp and we want to complete. The main thing we want to complete is the affidavits and the notification. If we can complete all of those people who are coming in, we can bring them up to scratch. But I need us to publicize the notification and the affidavit. All right. So most things you go into the classroom and find it.
I'm gonna do my affidavit another week and then forward a copy, see if it's all right. Because when we look on one example and look at another one, and it's a little bit confusing. So I'm just gonna try and see.
No, but there is an affidavit that I put into the class that's only asking for name and address. You don't have to put in anything and change anything. You just print off.
No, that affidavit. That affidavit is all right, but you have some other one. Them is like you have to convert the terminology to English and all kind of something. I know it's not really a complaint. It's just research.
I think a lot of
the one where you send in the class.
Yeah. Eh? A lot of people are
the one where you send in the class. If that's all right, let me just deal with that one there. Just get that one straight. Come have a copyright. Name copyright already.
My main thing is when you drop into any predicament, you must have something on file where you can say, I did put in this, so I can work with that. Notice to principal, notice to agent. So if that one age of maturity goes out to every office, that is a declaration by itself, my brothers and sisters. And that is just one. So suppose we send this to the offices, then we don't highlight, and then them say, no, you have to send it to this one and that one. We will learn we have to send it to, but right now we don't have nothing out here on the block, brothers and sisters. All right, and I want us to do. Yeah. Don't know, brother James jump off for the thing. Brother Nigel, any concern? No, Nigel in my classroom or will arrange. I was hoping brother Mike.
There, my boss.
Yeah, any concern?
No, everything good for now.
Yes, all right. Well,
congratulations.
Yes, tomorrow I'll have picture up for. I'm gonna go around by the sheik, and if he give me what I'm supposed to get, I will have it up for tomorrow as far as him working that out. All right. Sister Angela, I'm going to put those things inside of the classroom. Tomorrow we will meet with our recruiting center as far as talking to our brothers and sisters who are coming on board. We'll work with that. And may I ask please not stress out on yourself and figure like so we can do it very faster than how it is being done. We already have a blueprint, and talking to the emperor and talking to the rest of the brothers and sisters, the government is still needed when it comes on to a lot of the resources that we can render. and that is why we do our meeting on Sundays, because we yet to find some of the gems who can make this thing run more efficiently. But for what it's doing right now, I give thanks, and I hope that we can do greater. Okay. Any question?
So the classes, the steps to be taken up to the tag for your car, that was done during the second semester.
Yes, it was done during the second class.
Okay, so I'm looking for them.
I think it was done on that was done on I think it was a Saturday class we had with Nana.
Yeah.
Or it was a Thursday class. It shouldn't be too hard to find.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was looking for, the steps to do all of that.
Yes.
Yeah, it was both, if I remember correctly, Saturday and Thursday.
Yeah, I thought we had start diving into it on the Thursday, and then we had climax it and get it for the Saturday. I can't remember that point blank.
Yeah, if we can find them ones, I'll appreciate that.
I will. I have to write out this petition tonight on this thing with my tickets them. So between that and I'm getting some shut eye, I should have some things in the classroom. I will reach out to Madam Secretary, because she is the one who taught the class, so she will more find it for us.
Yeah.
And I can look at my DOT and see when it was applied and just look for the date.
Yeah.
Yes, I do have.
Find them, just drop them in the class, and we go from there.
I will. Any question, brothers and sisters? The rain is about to fall. We have completed our hour. Tomorrow, as I said, we'll have our recruiting and concerns. But for now, this is where our climax come to an end for a Saturday. As we say,
by a donkey,
and we
shall have thee.
We shall have thee. Angela and her by a donkey argument, you think she is.
Yeah, man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. The donkey, you know, this is not the GLP, we want spaceship. It's a better place.
We must find time to save the human race. Love, unity, and empathy has no place among the human race. In this transition, when we live in love and harmony and show respect with unity, only love can set us free to fight injustice wherever it be. Just said the hungry must be fed, but man can't live by only bread. We have the future in our hands. Let's take the trot to the promised land. Jamaica.